Hello everyone and 恭喜发财. Hopefully you had a great Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year celebration with your close family members and friends. And now you have a little bit of a headache in a way. How are you going to allocate the Angpao money being showered to your children or your grandchildren by close family members or friends and using that as a good curiosity pit for them to venture into the world of investing, to save, and to allocate capital well? My name is John, and I'll be sharing my opinion in this video, so stay till the end to find those tips and tricks to help your kids or even your grandkids or even yourself get invested. As a disclaimer, whatever I share in this video is purely for educational purposes only. It is never a buy or sell recommendation. Please do seek a licensed advisor or licensed portfolio manager if you do require licensed advice. I got inspired based on Warren Buffett's practice during Christmas by giving gifts of stock certificate to his grandchildren during Christmas, and by adopting that to our Malaysian culture or even Asian culture. During Chinese New Year, where a lot of our children or even ourselves actually get showered with angpao gifts from our family members and also from our friends who are already married. And if we are single, then that's when you get it lah, right? But even if you're married and you give angpao as a good blessing or good wish to your elderly family members and to wish them well. And with all this angpao money, how are you allocating and using it as an opportunity to inspire or to spark curiosity to get people to start invested, including your children, your grandchildren, or even your relatives or family members? And I thought that it's apt in this environment where there's an economic recession that a lot of experts are calling. People have lost their jobs and trying to find ways to build new income streams, not immediately, but also for the future. So I've done this for my children over the past I would say 5 to 6 years, ever since my eldest actually started having a bank account with her mother. And I also figured that here I am sharing my thought process about investing and practicing it, applying it within my family members, that has in a way encouraged them to be curious. Like, there was a time when my daughter walked on me when I was rebalancing my wife's portfolio, and she saw QL, and she remembered I had a discussion with her about who owns QL, who owns Family Mart, sorry, and it was the QL group. So I was like sharing with her my thoughts, why I've purchased this as part of my wife's portfolio. So hopefully these videos can give you some tips and tricks that you can actually inculcate this curiosity within your children. So the first idea or inspiration is pretty straightforward. Instead of putting money into a bank account that earns you or even fixed deposit that earns you a very measly yield or interest rate, why not buy an equity stake or buy a position to own the bank? Now, the largest bank in Malaysia where I live is actually Maybank, that most recently have been paying quite a decent dividend yield. It's about 7.6%. So by putting it into a fixed deposit or time deposit in Malaysia, the interest rate right now is probably 2.75 to some banks, certain campaigns they can give you 3 or more. Yeah, this is one way to take ownership of partial ownership of a bank that earns their fees or their income based on a spread between the amount of deposits being taken and also the loans that is being given out by them, and they manage the risk in between. So while it is not as safe as a fixed deposit, but what is your reward for being patient that this bank hopefully runs its business well? It's the dividend yield. It's 7.6%. It pays you that, hey, one day if the bank just happens to grow, new depositors come in, they give out more loans, people in their Gen Z generation or even the millennials reach a certain peak income status that they can take loans, that's where the business will grow, and hopefully earnings will grow and share price will actually follow in tandem. But you are being paid a yield of 7.6% to wait for that day to happen and trust the management that can go there. Rather than, yes, you put your money into fixed deposit, your downside is capped, but your upside is also capped. You see, that's the difference of equity ownership. And perhaps when you start buying these banks with your Angpao money that your children has gotten from their relatives or friends, it sparks a discussion. It says, hey, instead of daddy or mommy giving you money and putting it into an account, you're saying that, hey, every time you walk to the bank, you can tell them, hey, you own partial ownership of this particular bank that we are walking into. I know most parents, I hardly bring my kids to the bank these days, mainly to the ATM just to withdraw some money, right? Yeah, but yeah, one simplest and easiest idea is actually buy banks rather than putting it into fixed deposits or savings account. A favorite Malaysian pastime, even during festive occasions like Chinese New Year, is going to the mall. And you pay parking fees, you complain about food price increases, parking fees increases. Why not benefit from it? Since your children love going to the mall, you love going to the mall, take partial ownership of the mall. So in Malaysia, a lot of these big main malls, especially in the Klang Valley, are parked under what we call a REIT, or Real Estate Investment Trust. For those of you unfamiliar with REITs, go read up about it. They have plenty of good material. I'm not going to cover them all here because it's got a drag, and there are plenty of good resources out there. And IGB REIT, Pavilion REIT are but two examples of real estate investment trusts that has a big conglomerate shopping mall parked into as the asset of this listed vehicle. Now, for a REIT, their main business model is actually distributing 90% of the income generated from the asset through rental, through other services, as dividends to the shareholder. And because of that, they get to enjoy certain tax breaks and benefits. And you, as a retail investor, you do not who may not have the capacity to actually buy prime real estate, something like a Mid-Valley, and don't have the time or professional expertise to run a mall, you rely on these guys to actually give you that kind of rental yield return, yield accretion, value accretion of the property, and you enjoy the dividend yield that you get, you see. So Pavilion REIT, IGB REIT, mainly paying about 4 to 5%. If you go a little bit more niche, sometimes even into office buildings, you may get lucky to get REITs paying you about 8 to 9% during the heydays. But again, to anchor around the Angpao theme for your children, I don't think they go to offices at 7, 8 years old, but they do go to malls. So idea number 2, buy malls, REITs around malls. Third idea, most of your children are stuck or glued in front of a TV, and global leaders such as Netflix and Walt Disney, with Disney Plus coming up, your kids use it so much. My children, watch Netflix on average, I think about an hour a day. So share with them, hey, daddy or mommy is actually buying something that you are using day in, day out. We pay a monthly subscription. You get to enjoy new content, exciting content, and it does pique their interest because it's a product or a service that they use day in, day out. As I mentioned earlier, for my daughter, because her mother's portfolio has QA resources, I bought them way back. I think it was, I can't remember exactly how much was the price, but way back compared to the rise that we see today. I think she loves to buy sandwiches, especially in Family Mart. And along the same theme, My News, they've seen losses narrow in the previous quarters, and I think with the Chinese borders opening up, them being expanding their stores, I think it's also something interesting of a convenience store culture. I do have my thoughts on whether it can really succeed as much as the Taiwanese, the Japanese, or even the Thai convenience store culture, and it's yet to be seen. But yeah, something that your children are very familiar with the moment they go into a big mall like Gardens or even One Utama. I'm pretty sure they see convenience stores, and I'm pretty sure they buy tidbits or snacks within these convenience stores. So yeah, idea number 4, convenience stores. So theme number 5, and actually this is more related to younger kids who are still not hooked to computer games or to mobile phone games, is actually toys. So this particular company that I'm showcasing as an example, Hasbro, very well diversified branding and toys lineup that they have, quite impressive. There's actually a very famous YouTuber called Ryan's Toys Review. He got so big that Hasbro actually has a line of toys named after him. And this is the power of branding. It's to be seen whether that relevance of branding will remain going forward, especially in the future where more games are coming out that entice the younger generation of children to play virtual games, augmented reality games. But physical toys still, for me, still has its relevance in today's day and age. Even more relevance, you never know. People are so bored of virtual things that they crave physical toys. So yeah, idea number 5, toys. So there you go, my 5 ideas on how you can allocate Angpao money to pique the curiosity of your children, to make sure that money actually works for you, that hard-earned money or gifted money, for the lack of a better word, and to expose your children to how businesses are actually run in a more interesting and not a very dry and rigid way, like teaching them the rules of accounting. I feel this actually nurtures their relationship by using simple analogies. They consume this product or service, and it does encourage them to say, hey, 5 years down the road, if the business is run well and the share price appreciate, they said, oh, this is actually how investing actually works, And if you start them really young, let's say, I try to teach my 5-year-old on how businesses are actually run, how do they make money, because he loves cars, right? Yeah, which reminds me I should buy Ferrari shares for his account, but story for another day. And last but not least, allow time to be their friend. Because once you start them young, they may not fully grasp the concept, but it does spark their curiosity to want to know more. And then when they get older, then they start, hopefully start doing research on their own, start building this habit of understanding how you can use investing to leverage your wealth. There you go. Hopefully you enjoy content like this. If you do, give this channel a subscribe, like it, share it with your friends, family members who are like-minded like you to grow your mindset, and hit that notification bell so that you know the next videos are out. I'll see you guys in the next video.